Hey everyone, this is Jason Dykstra here from jasondyk.com, and with me I have the author of Amazing Things Will Happen, Chapman. How are you today, Cece?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Great. I'm glad to have you, despite being a little bit on the under the weather.
Yeah, it's that time of year, right? I mean, got to kick off the new year and be sick. So,
Yeah.
but I'm doing okay. But it's like that's the great thing about technology, right? We don't have to be face to face, exposing each other.
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's a lot
fun.
cleaner, right? So, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Cece.
So, my name is Chapman. I am right now outside of Boston, here in the woods outside of Boston. I'm a speaker, photographer, author. I just launched a new company called the Cleon Foundation that's going to make the world a better place through creativity. A dad of two great kids. I love to travel. I love to create. And I wrote this new book called Amazing Things Will Happen.
That's great. And this isn't your first book, right? This is the second one.
Second one, yeah. The first one, I had the extreme honor to write with Ann Hanley from Marketing Profs. It's called Content Rules. It's gone on to become one of the best-selling books on content marketing, and it's a second book and thinking about the third now. Never stop, I guess.
It's like tattoos, isn't it? It's addicting
Yeah,
after your first one.
very much so.
And I just read the review from Anne that Anne left, actually, and about your first book, but it's not your first book, but it's kind of your first book. And
it was so funny because she didn't tell me that was coming. I just, I hadn't been out to Amazon for about a week, and I go, oh wow, there's some new reviews.
Yeah.
I click, and it's hers, and it was so touching. And I had to call her up and be like, I didn't need to cry today, Anne, but yeah, it was vintage Anne Hanley. So I was happy to see she enjoyed the book.
Oh, that's great. So tell us a little bit more about Amazing Things Will Happen. What's this book all about?
So Amazing Things Will Happen is, the subtitle is A Real World Guide on Achieving Success and Happiness. And the whole point of the book is, it's going to get lumped together in that self-help category that I don't hate. I just hate the baggage that comes with that title.
Yeah.
And it's all about how any one of us can live a more fulfilling and happy life. And I shared, tips and tricks and mantras that I've learned over my life, that from managers and my dad and family members, and just kind of put them all together into one book, where my original inspiration was, if I was to write a book for my kids to say, here's the life here's how I want you to live your life. That was my inspiration for the book. And as I thought more about it, I thought, you know what? Anybody can benefit from this, all the way from the CEO of the biggest company to, a mom sitting at home wishing for something more. And so it's really short. It's to the point. No nonsense. I make no promises that it's going to change your life. The best description I've heard from it is that it's a warm hug and a kick in the ass all at the same time. And I was like, that's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to write.
Yeah, that's exactly how I would describe it as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, from memory serves me correct, I think I was one of the first people to completely read the book from cover to cover, or from Kindle to Kindle, and I exposed it to you online, for better or worse.
Yes, you were the one who I was sitting on my couch, kicked back, and I see a tweet saying, surprise, I got Cece's book on my Kindle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And proceeded to flip out and freak out, because yes, sure enough, there it was on my Kindle too. But it's all good. So yes, thank you very much for letting me know that Amazon had decided to do it their own way and screw my whole marketing plan. So hey, I appreciate it. Well, I appreciate you. I don't appreciate what they did.
Now, one of the things that you mentioned in the book really early on, which I was really happy to see, was that there's no easy way to do this. There's no, you follow, step A, B, and C, and all of a sudden you're going to be doing awesome things. And, I have a Dutch background, so I've been working since I was like 5 or 6 in greenhouses. And so that's one of the things that really spoke to me right off the bat, was saying, this takes hard work. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I come from a blue-collar upbringing. I grew up in small town New Hampshire. My dad, my mom have worked their whole lives. And I hate this privileged mentality that some people think that, life owes you everything you dream of. And it doesn't. And I also hate those people who are looking for a quick hit and an easy solution. And that's part of the self-help baggage I was talking about, is
Hmm.
that, you know, I firmly believe that you have to know what it is you want, but then you got to work really hard to make it happen. And I know I get up every morning, and it may seem like things are easy, but it's not. I'm constantly hustling. I have to work hard. Now, granted, am I working as hard as that guy working in the ditch or the woman working in the office? It's different. There's different types of work. There's different levels of physical labor. I mean, there's different things for sure, but at the end of the day, nothing in life is going to get handed to you. I firmly believe that, and I didn't want people. I didn't want people to. I wanted people to know right up front that, listen, I'm not making any promises. I'm just going to tell you that you got to know what you want, work hard, be a good person, and then that's when good things happen. And I'm more people have said, I haven't had anybody say I don't agree with you, Cece. So I think
Yeah.
I'm right, which I'm glad for, because more people have said what you said. Where I'm glad you said that, because
Hmm.
everybody else assumes it's going to get handed to them.
Yeah. And one of the a quote I heard recently, and I can't remember where I heard it from, was good luck comes from to those who work really hard or
Yeah,
work hard at
luck is one of those things that I do. It's weird. I do believe some luck is completely random, but I also
it.
believe you make your own luck. Whether it's karma or kismet. I mean, I talk about that in the book too, where when you're being good, you're doing good things tend to happen to you. Some people call it luck, other things, but
Yeah,
it's
depends
just
where
it
they
just
are.
stink. Yeah, it just stinks when the bad people have good things happen to them. It's like,
Yeah,
no, 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 no. The good people should have all the good stuff.
yeah. Now, a post that you just wrote recently about your 3 words of the year. I mean, it's a new year. We're here on what, the 2nd of January, so we're
Yeah.
just kind of getting started with that. You chose 3 words: menu, build, and minimize. And you talked about the 3 word exercise in your book as well. What's that all about? Why do something like that?
Yeah, so I originally heard about the idea from Chris Brogan, and I give him full credit for it because I think it was a great idea. And the whole concept is, instead of resolutions that we're all going to forget about in a month, you pick 3 words or themes that you're going to focus on for the year. And you write them down, you brainstorm for a couple of weeks, and then you start narrowing them down. I mean, it's funny. I realized, right? I didn't know you were going to ask, but that's all I was writing down words for a couple of weeks, just kind of noodle them down in my notebook. And then I figured out, okay, what themes are going on? Do I see any trends in these words? And I started narrowing them down. Like menu, I had picked really quickly. I knew I wanted that as one of my words because I was going to focus on new foods, eating in the family, but also throwing variety in everything I do. And then the build kind of came along with the new company and selling the book. And the minimize was the last one, which was really difficult because I had a lot of that final word is always the hard one because you're like, I've only got one more to pick.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good exercise to focus, and you don't have to do it at year end, but just to kind of focus on, even if it's just the next month you want to focus on, figuring out themes and things. It really focuses yourself because then you can go back and check and say, you know what, is this task I'm doing, whatever it is it helping towards any of these, or
Hmm.
do I want to take on this new assignment because if you have the choice, does it help those 3 words or not?
Yeah, and it's funny that you point out minimize as being one of your last words, was because my last word as well was simplify, which is
Yeah.
fairly similar. And yeah, I think, well, especially I was having a conversation with someone the other day about everyone wanting all these advanced strategies and different things like that, when really, I mean, we just suck at the basics.
Yeah, isn't it true? It's
So,
just like build the foundation first, and then you can worry about the crazy stuff. But
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And yeah, I've been doing 3 words for a couple years now, and this is actually the first year that I ever published it or made it
ah,
public of the 3 words. And I know I posted it. I think it was on your blog post and like Chris Brogan's and different things like that. And I've got a couple great comments from some different people and some great emails about it. And yeah, which kind of speaks into that small town mentality that you talk about in the book as well. What is small town mentality, and what is it? Who cares?
yeah. So I mean, I grew up in small town New Hampshire, so anybody who comes from a small town automatically gets this stuff. But I think it's something that anybody can use to do better in their life and business. And it's things like, addressing people by name, saying good morning or hello to complete strangers, helping out your neighbor. If somebody next door when I was growing up came over and said, "Hey, I need a cup of sugar or a lawnmower," or whatever it was, you did it. You just said, "Oh yeah, sure." And then if they didn't return the favor, you never let them do it again. I mean, it's those sort of things too. But the neat thing about the world that we live in today is technology enables us. So like you and I mean, we haven't physically seen each other face to face that many times, but we know each other and we can connect to each other.
Right.
And it's weird because the world suddenly doesn't have borders, and that small town just being nice and polite and saying hello and helping goes a long, long way in business, because suddenly we don't have to do, while it's kind of contradictory, because I love the local sense. I love going to the local butcher shop rather than going to the big chain supermarket when I have the chance. But at the same time, I can do business with anybody in the world because the internet and our technology has allowed us to get smaller while being so much more global. It's kind of my medicated brain right now. It's hurting.
Well, I mean, it allows you to break down that geographical barrier, like you're saying, and be able to connect with like-minded people too, which can only help your successful in the creative ideas and innovation and all those other buzzwords that are out there. So one of the things that you talk about in the book is the difference between a troll and an asshat or an ankle biter. So first of all, tell me what's the difference between a troll and an asshat or an ankle biter, and second of all, why even describe that? Why even talk about it?
Yeah, so it's funny. So I had this whole idea, about the asshats and ankle biters. Don't let them get you down. And I realized I had to talk about trolls because I think there's something totally different. A troll is just somebody who all they want to do is cause mayhem. They want, whether it's, starting a flame war on a comment string or just trashing somebody. They have no other meaning except to cause mayhem. That's it. And that's fine. Trolls are easy enough to ignore once you recognize them. When I talk about an asshat, is actually somebody who, while they want to cause problems, their main thing, they don't know they're causing problems. They have just enough knowledge to talk about a subject, but they think they're an authority. They think they really know about it. And I see this all the time, especially in social media circles where, somebody's read enough books and enough blog posts to understand all the lingo, to know what they're talking about, but they haven't actually done any real work, haven't been in the trenches. And they get out there and will say, well, that doesn't work. Well, how do you know? Because I do. And when those people come at you for something you're trying to do or you're trying to build, it can be daunting because you're like, wow, well, that person, they've got a CMO title or they've got a big title or they seem like they know what they're talking about. And that can suddenly crush you. And I wanted people to realize, you know what? Just titles don't mean anything, not always. And then the ankle biters are, they're rampant on social media and they're rampant online in today's world. And those are the ones where they're not quite a troll, but they're always the negative. No matter, they're just like, oh, that won't work. And they've got nothing to stand on. And you see a lot of people do this and they cover it by trying to be witty or snarky, oh, I'm just being no. And if you're not ready for that, like I see it and I just kind of laugh them off, but I've also been online, for years. So I've seen this mentality, but I realized as people started, saying, hey, I'm going to do this, whatever it is, I'm going to chase my dreams, or I'm going to, do whatever it is I've always wanted to do. These people are going to come up. And if you're not ready for them, sometimes it just takes one person to go, your idea sucks. And it knocks you off and you suddenly give up. And I wanted people to realize that you're going to face those people. It's part of the world we live in. No matter what business, what industry, no matter where you are in the world, those people exist. And that I figured if I educated people and said, these are the things to look out for, that people could go, oh, that's one of them. Yeah. And avoid it.
Yeah. And I think all people have them. I mean, I think if you don't have them, you're not doing something right.
Oh yeah. I mean, if you have no hater, I didn't even talk about haters, but if you don't have those people, that means you're being way too vanilla and you're being way too safe. I mean, the crazy ideas are the ones that people, half the world goes, what the heck are you talking about? And the other, the people that matter, the ones that get it, those are the ones that matter.
Yeah. I used to have a boss who said, if everyone likes you, you're not doing your job right.
Yeah, it's true. And that's a hard thing, right?
Yeah.
until you've been through that. I mean, I know there's this great book, The Power of Unpopular,
Hmm.
that talks all about that, and it's
Yeah,
just one of
Erica.
those. It's hard to accept until you've been, having two kids that are teenagers now. It's really hard to teach them that lesson. I wish I understood that in high school,
Yeah.
to realize you know what, you don't have to make everybody happy. It's okay.
I think someone like Carol Roth is actually a great example of that, and especially how to deal with those people, those haters, and the ankle biters and stuff like that. And she's very much. I mean, her book itself was great, the Entrepreneur Equation.
Yeah, and I
But
love her because she doesn't care,
yeah,
and like, I mean, like, she's a perfect example. She's a friend, and our politics are night and day from each other, which is fine. But I respect her because she never wavers. She's like, this is what I think, this
yeah,
is what I'm doing, and that's who I am, and
yeah.
I respect her for that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it takes a lot of. I mean, you really need to know yourself in order to do that as
Oh
well,
yeah,
and be
oh yeah.
comfortable with that, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, because it comes with consequences,
Hmm.
but it also comes with lots of rewards too.
Yeah. And do you see a lot of brands and organizations? I mean, they have to deal with that a lot. And I mean, that's a new project that I have coming out within conflict resolution, and how do companies deal with that? How do brands deal with these negative comments and things like that, and turn the passion, because they're passionate people. Unfortunately, they're
Yes.
passionate against you or what you stand for, or what you said, or what have you. But how can we take those people and turn them into more brand advocates, and change the trajectory of that passion?
Yeah, because if you can flip, you won't always flip them all, but if
Hmm.
you can flip them, if you can flip that anger or negativity the other way,
Hmm.
it's amazing when you can pull it off. And you can't always. I mean, having worked with brands for years, you're not going to flip everybody. You're always going to hate some people. But it is weird to watch brands react online because sometimes they overcompensate. They go,
Yeah,
oh my, oh my God, there's this little tempest in a teapot freaking out at us. We got to
yeah,
delete or run away. And it's like, well, no,
yeah.
wait. There's never one solid answer to resolve conflict. Every time
Hmm.
it's a little different, and the situation, and I think too many brands react, so they
They
gut
go over the
reaction and they
top.
don't think about it,
Yeah, they either go way over the top, or they don't do anything whatsoever.
which is even worse
Yeah,
sometimes. We're just gonna it's gonna go away. We can ignore
yeah,
it.
yeah. And then we'll pass it off as we're listening.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I hate that excuse. And I've had clients where the legal decision was, we're only going to listen and watch,
Hmm.
and it kills you. But you're like, okay,
Yeah.
you dug, you live with that.
And I would argue they're not even listening if that's all they're doing.
No, usually not.
Yeah. So, sorry, back to the book. What are some key takeaways that you want for people? I mean, we're doing a program soon called Get Artisan, about mastering your craft and how do you build a business off of that. What are some key takeaways for people like that, of amazing things are going to happen?
Yeah, I think one of the key things is you have to know clearly. I talk about choosing the path. I mean, you have to clearly know what you're doing. You can't say, oh, I'm going to take pictures, or I'm going to cook. You got to say, I'm going to take travel photography,
Hmm.
or I'm going to make donuts. I mean, you've got to really know exactly what you're going to do, because to monetize you have to know, you have to be able to focus on exactly what the goal is. And I think one of the big things too that people need to focus on is really plan it out. Just figure out, well, here's how much money I really do have to make. Because let's face it, how much to live is different for every single person. Whether
That's
if
right.
you're single, it's a lot easier than if you have a family with a mortgage.
Hmm.
So really figuring out, here's what I need to make, here's what I want to do, and here's how I'm going to make them work together. And then plan it out and strategically figure out how you're going to monetize it. Because I'm sorry, the starving artist is not a life I would ever want to live. I
Hmm.
mean, you've got to and monetize it. Making money off of something you love, especially if it's a craft, is difficult. Sometimes I mean, I know I just want to make stuff, but I also know I got to feed my kids and pay
Yeah.
for college and those sort of things. So being realistic about the goals, and then clearly stepping out, laying out, okay, here's the next 6 months, the next year, how I'm going to do that. And then be constantly looking at, did I achieve it? Did I not? I mean, I
Yeah.
think not enough people take the time to upfront lay out the plan and the strategy. And yeah, things are going to happen. It's going to be organic. Things are going to evolve. But the better the plan you have up front, the more success you're going to have. I think that's like the core for that sort of audience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, I think it's huge in the strategy. Nobody wants to be a starving artist. It's hard to survive off that. So, Amazing Things Will Happen. It's in on Amazon. You can get it on your Kindle. You can go to the bookstores all over the place, or
yeah, it's every. I don't think it's in parts of Asia yet. Of all, I mean, it's
okay.
weird because I know books come out in different, but you can. It's on every ebook platform. It's at your bookstore. If it's not at your bookstore, people keep going, but Cece, they never have it. I'm like, well, ask for it.
Yeah.
And I'm a big
Please.
proponent of go down to your local bookstore. Skip the big chain. Nothing wrong with the big chains, but go down to your local bookstore and say, hey, I'd like to buy this book from you. Libraries should have it. I mean, the ebook. I just recorded the audiobook right before Christmas, and I don't know, I don't have a date yet, but I know it's supposed to be Q1 of this year, so it'll be on Audible and all those places.
That'll be fun. Actually, Content Rules was my first ever audiobook that I ever
See, I'm
into.
not an audiobook guy. I'm really not.
No.
And I worried about Content Rules where there was two different authors. But I had a blast doing Amazing Things Will Happen because certain chapters, like the Ass Hat and Ankle Biters chapter, was fun to record. So I'm excited. I'm excited to listen to it and check it out too.
And I just want to clarify one thing with Amazing Things Will Happen is this is not a for me at least, I don't think this is a self-help book. I see this as something that's, a guide that you can kind of look back onto and, constantly revisit and go back and analyze to see how am I doing with this, with my goals and with the strategy that I've put in place, and am I actually achieving that?
Well, I appreciate it because that was part of one of the things where the chapters, like it's hard to even call them chapters. I was calling them vignettes for a little while because I couldn't think of it because they're short. I mean, some are just a couple pages long. And my hope was somebody would read through it all the way and then would go back and, when they needed a kick in the pants, they'd flip to the chapter. And it's funny because, I said this the other day and someone's like, oh, you just want to make more money. And I said, no. I actually make more money when you buy a digital copy. But I think the hard copy is the way to go because you can earmark it. And while I'm a Kindle guy, I mean, I buy books all the time. It is harder to just flip back to that page you need in a non-physical way. And, it's one of those books where at one point I actually thought about making it like spiral bound so that it would be more like a guide. But, book publishers like hardcovers. So, maybe we'll get to do something fun with the paperback someday.
Yeah. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
There you go.
Well, thanks so much for joining me, Cece. Where can people find you?
So the easiest place to find me is cc-chapman.com. And there's links to everything from there. And thanks for having me on the show today.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Make sure that you go and check out Amazing Things Will Happen. And go buy a book for yourself. Go buy a book for your friends or your family. There it is right there. Perfect. Thanks a lot, Cece.
Thanks.